Good evening and welcome to the September 15, 2025 meeting of the City of Summit Zoning Board of Adjustment. My name is Scott Loikitz and I'm the Zoning Board Chair. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. In accordance with New Jersey Statute 10:4-10, adequate notice of this special meeting has been provided to a newspaper record that's been posted here in City Hall. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to the issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. For the benefit of the interested public, this meeting is being live streamed on the city's YouTube page, and also broadcast on the Summit's government channel, which is Comcast Channel 34, Verizon Channel 30. Transcript of this meeting is also being taken using video and audio, so we need all speakers to utilize one of the microphones in the room. Please note that the fire exits are to my right, your left, and at the back of the room where you entered. The city has a listening system to assist the hearing impaired. If anyone needs hearing assistance, please obtain the system at the dais and return it there afterwards. Ms. Sands, please call the roll of members.
Vice Chair Zahn.
Here.
Mr. Yuko is excused. Mr. Millay.
Here.
Mr. Nelson.
Here.
Mr. Curran is excused. Ms. Chifo.
Here.
Mr. Feskins is excused. Mr. Chanchuli is expected but not yet here. Mr. Nearing.
Here.
Chairman Loikitz.
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you, Ms. Sands. Andy Ball is the zoning board's attorney. Mr. Ball advises the board on matters of law and is the key interface with the applicant's attorney. Mr. Ball does not vote on these applications. Jessica Sands is a city employee and is the zoning board secretary. Our board secretary works with the applicants on preparing their applications, planning our agendas, keeping our meeting minutes. Board secretary also does not vote on these applications. Also present are our experts who are hired annually by the board to provide input. Tonight, we have Marie Raffet from Collier's Engineering. Also present is Ed Snikes from Burgess Associates, and he's our board planner. These experts are seated at the table to the right of the board, the public's left. They also do not vote on these applications. The board consists of 7 regular members and up to 4 alternates. All members can participate in the hearings tonight, but only a maximum of 7 can vote. Most applications require a simple majority to be approved. Before we enter into executive session to vote on these applications, you will be advised on how many votes are required for approval. Each case will begin with the applicants or their attorney giving an overview of the application process to date and the variances that are required. We then hear from any additional expert witnesses the applicant may have to help explain the application, why those variances are needed. The board experts, followed then by the board members, may ask questions of the applicant, their attorney, and their expert witnesses. Due to recent cases running excessively long, we strongly encourage applicants and their experts to give brief and concise testimony so we may get to as many cases as possible in any given evening. Once the board members and the board professionals have completed their questioning, the public will have an opportunity to ask their own questions. This is not the time to tell us what you think about the case. That opportunity comes at the end of the hearing. Please be careful as to how you phrase your questions. They should not be preceded with a statement about the case, but should be a direct question to the witness. Also, before you ask your questions, please clearly state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address. It is important that our court reporter be able to keep a clear and accurate public record. After all witnesses have been heard, members of the audience then have a second opportunity to speak. At that time, you may express your opinion, positive or negative, about that application. Then the public hearing is closed and we enter into executive session. This is where board members discuss the case and then vote. You'll be able to listen in on our executive session, but not normally be able to participate in our discussion. I'm now going to ask that each applicant and or their attorney, if present, come up and give a brief synopsis of the anticipated testimony tonight, including the number of witnesses and whether or not they think they can finish their presentation within 30 minutes. So tonight we will begin with 96 Fernwood, please.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Brian Fahey. I'm a lawyer with offices in Tewksbury and Bridgewater. I'm here representing Christopher and Abby Capinetti at 96 Fernwood. We do have Mr. Capinetti here. He'll do a brief testimony to provide some background. I have Jared Kosek hearsay here from Outdoor Digs. He is our landscape architect person. I don't think, you're not a licensed landscape architect, right?
Design, not art, design.
Architect?
No, design.
Okay. So he's here, he can answer any technical questions we might have. However, my engineer, my professional engineer that was going to testify as to the engineering components of this is not here tonight. So with the assumption that Andy advises the board that we require an engineer to present testimony to get the criteria on the record, we will ask for a carry. But I wanted to introduce the application so that we don't have to, we can reserve notice and publication. Okay?
All right.
And yes, we will be within 30 minutes for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Fahey, appreciate it. Next, we have 23 Baltusrol Place.
Hello, my name is Evan Nisenson, Nisenson. My wife Lauren is also here, 23 Baltusrol Place. And we have our architect here, William Byrne, who will be testifying.
Great. You think it'll take 30 minutes or less?
Yes,
Excellent.
thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Next, we have 45 Edgewood Road. Hi.
Hi, my name is Meredith Colin Ryman. I'm the architect working with Jeffrey and Rachel Bem. And what do you want to know? Yes, I think we can do it in 30 minutes or less. Is that good?
Okay, perfect. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Great.
And then finally, 6 Llewellyn Road, I believe has been a request to carry. Andy, are we going to carry that case?
So is anyone here for that application? I don't think we have any representatives of the applicant here. I know just this afternoon, we received a request to carry the
Yes.
application until, I believe, November 10th. I'll note that this is the third request to carry. They indicate that they're revising their plans. I believe they've indicated to say that they may be looking at submitting a compliant application, but that's to be determined still. So right now, they're requesting to carry without further notice until November 10th.
Great, and I would like to give Vice Chair Zahn a chance to further comment on this request.
Thank you. So I think I could get behind a motion to carry this again, but I'd like to note a couple of things. This board has twice prepared for this meeting to go over this, and that's time out of our days. And then to find out at 5 o'clock, or almost 6 o'clock, that we're carrying this, it's too late a notice. I feel like that's a little bit disrespectful, and we could have been told beforehand. And then the reason for notice says additional time to revise their plans in accordance with the comments received from the previous hearing. There have been no previous hearings, so I'd like to put that on the record because I imagine this letter is going to be part of the record. And in fact, the staff comments on this were from January of 2025. So I think they've had ample time to review the comments and respond to the comments and change their plans. So, based on that, I would say I could get behind a motion to carry, provided that they give notice of the next meeting and that they make an appearance if they decide to carry again.
Should we put it to a vote?
Just, can we do November 10th? I know we had to check, but if we vote on it,
Yes,
just-
that's an
Okay.
available hearing date.
I have a question. I mean, aren't we usually the one that tells them when they can come and not them telling us? I'm just a little confused on how the applicant is giving us a date versus us saying,
I believe-
our secretary should check to see what's available.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they did check with you about that date, right, Jessica?
Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Can I get a motion to carry?
so moved.
Can I get a second?
Is
With-
it
with-
with conditions?
With conditions, yeah.
With notice or without notice?
It's been since March
I
of
would say with
2025.
notice, because if it's changing substantially, then, I think the neighbors need to know what's going on, if that
Yes.
makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
I make a motion that it be carried, but with notice.
And with an appearance if they
And
decide
an
to carry
appearance
again.
if
Yeah,
needed.
fine.
Great.
I second those, with those
Excellent.
conditions.
Jessica, can you call the roll, please?
Vice Chair Zahn,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
Ms. Chifo,
Yes.
Mr. Nearing,
Yes.
Chairman Loikis.
Yes. Thank you guys for that. All right, so why don't we kick things off with 96 Fernwood?
Again, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for the opportunity to be heard tonight. As I mentioned, I'm Brian Fahey. Anybody has any questions, please, I'm not a formal guy, so just let me know if you have concerns or issues we'll deal with. As I mentioned.
We'll just ask if you could either pick sitting mic or standing at the podium, but the microphones are pretty sensitive, so if you could speak directly into one, that would be preferred.
Do you mind, do you want me to sit or? can I
Yeah,
stand?
Whatever you prefer.
That's fine.
I like to stand.
The
You
podium
can
will
use
work
the
too.
handheld if you want, then.
No, it's okay.
So either that,
Yeah,
Let's,
at
let
the
me try
podium
this.
or use the
I'll
handheld?
do the best I can, even though I don't sit well. 96 Fernwood. So that property is owned by my clients, Christopher and Abigail Capinetti. Christopher's here tonight. They've been here for a couple of years. They bought it in functionally new construction on the property. Christopher's going to come up and give us some background, but we are here, we seek 2 variances in order to improve the property to the extent that we'd like to improve it. We're not making any changes to the house here at all. This is purely outdoor work that needs to be done. What we're doing here is removing the existing kind of round patio off the family room and replacing it with a more square bluestone unit and installing a permanent, what would they call an outdoor kitchen, which is a permanent barbecue grill, and associated things like that. So that's what we're doing. So we require, when we bought the property, it was already over coverage. Coverage, I think, is 30% in this zone. We are at 31.1 right now, and we seek to go up to 33.3 in terms of coverage, and that'll accommodate for the new patio and the outdoor kitchen. And there is a side yard setback variance required for the outdoor kitchen, and that's it. So there's just 2 C variances here. And as I said, we're going to have Christopher and we have Jared here, Jared Tosay from Outdoor Digs, to testify as to the plan. Not a professional engineer, not a planner, so we, at Andrew's direction, if you need us to come back with our engineer, we will be happy to do that. But it would have to be at a subsequent meeting because he's simply not here tonight.
And just to clarify, you mentioned 2 variances. Our planner's report did note that steep slope variance would also be
Yeah,
required.
that's right.
So we're up to 3 variances.
Okay, yeah. In fact, there is a steep slope issue there, so yeah, if you want to call that a variance, it's fine. The notice is consistent with that. It does have the catch-all language in the notice.
Yep.
Okay. So, Chris, why don't you come on up and we can go through this with the board.
Thank you.
This is Christopher Capinetti, property owner and occupant.
Hi, members of
And-
the board.
If you could please raise your right hand.
We're gonna
Do you
swear you.
swear from
Oh,
testimony?
yeah. I'm sorry.
Do you swear from testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I did.
And please state your name, spell your last name.
Christopher Capinetti, Caponetti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so why don't you just give the board some background in terms of your history here at 96 Fernwood and Summit and what you want to do with the property.
Sure. First, members of the board, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to meet with me tonight. I've been in Summit for 5 years, moved during the COVID period. My wife Abby and I, we have 3 children, ages 8, 6, and 4. My 2 oldest go to Summit schools. My youngest is in preschool at St. Teresa's. Love the town. We love our home. Couldn't imagine a better place to raise our family, with the exception of the one thing that or I guess 3 things that we're here for tonight. We spend a lot of time outside. My kids love to play sports. My oldest is on the travel baseball team here in town. And we love to have dinners outside as a family, and we're looking to kind of extend our season, if we will, to enjoy, outdoor dining well into the fall. So really what we are hoping to do with your approval is rearrange our backyard so it'll make it easier for our children to play outside and to, simulate a soccer field or baseball, what have you. I'm not sure exactly what they're into, but it was, most recently was baseball. And then also seek to improve our patio, just to add an outdoor fire table to allow us to enjoy family dinners well into the fall. So with that, obviously, I'm sure we have a process here, but any questions that I can answer, I would be very happy to. Thanks again for your time.
Board experts, do you have any questions for this witness?
No, not for this witness.
Mr. Chairman, just one question. Maybe this might be a question for your other witnesses, but have you explored any other alternatives to avoid the variances? Maybe that's something for your expert, but that's sort of a...
Yeah, Jared can testify to that a little bit, and Jeff Carriega will testify to that more. The answer is yes. They went through a million different ways. As I'm sure you know, we already started with the coverage of variance. So there's very little that we could do to minimize that. In fact, we're working hard to try to minimize the impact of the variance, and we have nobody can see the property from any, none of the neighbors can see it. But I think that's probably Jeff Carriega's, he's probably the right witness to talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, I do have one question.
Please.
Do you know of any improvements that you've done in the backyard that would have changed any of the coverage calculations since you've been there? Or are you aware of anything that maybe the previous owners did that
Well,
would
it was
have?
new construction when they bought it.
It was new construction?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think you've made any changes in the
No.
backyard. Yeah, so it is exactly today as it was 5 years ago when they bought it. No improvements have been made. There are, by the way, I'm sure you're aware, but there are some easements in the property. There are some sewer easements underneath. I actually wrote those easements, I believe. So, we're not getting into any of the easement areas. That's all on the other side of the backyard. But there are, as I recall, 2 sanitary sewer easements that cross the property underneath.
Questions from the board for this witness?
I have 2 questions. One, I think you mentioned about the backyard and making it like usable for football or baseball or whatever. What do you mean by that? Is there some kind of grading that's going to be going on in the backyard besides what's needed for, it's not really, I don't think it was super clear from the plan what it's going, like any retaining walls, any,
So why don't I just bring Jared up? Do
Um,
you mind?
well, then we'll hold that question because I have one more question for the property owner.
I think Jared's probably better to answer that question.
Well, I mean, I'm asking the property owner what the plans are for with the backyard, just,
Okay,
is
you wanna-
this,
Sure.
going to be, yeah.
I'm not as intimately familiar with the exact details as Jared is, but my understanding is the goal is to flatten the backyard to just enable, more space to play.
Okay. And then the second question I have is, are you aware of the rule that if you add 300 square feet of impervious cover, that you have to provide stormwater management?
Yes,
Okay. And you're at 299 square feet, right?
that's why we're
That's-
at 200.
Well, I think, would you be willing to put stormwater management in? I'm asking the property owner of this because I think that 1 square foot's a little tough to, even when you're constructing 1 square foot over 300 square feet, it's just like an inch or a half an inch here and you're gonna be over, and then required to do stormwater management. So,
Well, I don't know that I think we would probably require Jeff Carriega's testimony to discuss that issue in greater detail. I mean, if Christopher wants to, do you have an opinion either way?
I'm
yet?
committed to complying with the laws and seeing the project through to completion.
okay,
So I don't think that directly answers your question,
no.
but I think we will get there. I think that's a good question, and I think we will get there. We just need Jeff to testify as to the engineering of this.
Any other questions?
Do you mind if I
from
just
Marie, please.
pivot off of that? If this lot was new construction in 2020 when he purchased it, and how did that get built with a variance already on there
We
without.
didn't do that. It was done, the developer, I mean, we bought it, it was built. We didn't build it. We were just the first people who lived in it.
No, I'm sorry, correction, I'm the second resident of the house. The property was purchased in 2014, the home was constructed in 2016. Was occupied, to my knowledge, from 2016 to when I purchased the house in August of 2020.
So are either of you aware if there were any variances that were sought for lot coverage?
I did not construct the house, I do not know
I
the
believe the
answer
answer
to
is
that.
yes. I think that's what, I think that's why I said we already have we're at 31.4 in coverage, and I think the limitation is 30. So
Right.
I suspect that 1.4% was done by way of variance. In fact, I'm pretty sure of it. I don't
So-
have a history, I didn't do it, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Then are there any seepage pits in the yard already?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, would the
Oh,
homeowner
Jared
know?
Seems to know the answer.
Okay, so maybe I'll hold that question for the landscape designer.
Please.
Okay,
I
thank you.
have a question.
Please,
You
Mr. Mayor.
testified before that you did not, nothing's been done to the property since you've owned it. Do you know if anything's been done to the property before you owned it that would have increased the lot coverage?
There was another home that was knocked down and my home was built on it.
You said you're the second owner,
Yes, sir.
so there's a first owner.
The first owner of the current home. I do not know how many residents were on
The
the
first
property.
owner of,
I am the second owner of the second home,
So
to
you-
my knowledge, that's
so
built
you
on
made no
96
additions?
Fernwood Road.
but you don't know if the guy before you made any additions to the
I
first
assume
owner.
he did because he knocked down the previous house to build a new house.
All right, so then you were the first occupant of the new house.
I'm the second occupant of the new house.
We're going in circles here on this one.
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
You didn't make any changes to the lot coverage,
I did not.
but you don't know if the guy before you made any changes to lot coverage.
I
since he was the
did
first-
not build the house, so I
Well,
wouldn't
Mr.
be
Mayor, maybe I
aware.
can answer it this way. Our understanding was, when we bought the house, that the coverage was at 31.4 and allowed to be at 31.4. So we seek a slight increase in coverage. but
Sure.
We believe that what's there was there by right, by permission.
Okay.
That's our understanding. We can't certify to it because we didn't do it, but we believe that what was there is consistent with 31.4%. That's consistent with what our surveys show.
Okay.
So I think that's right. I don't think there's anything there that's not by right.
Okay.
So why wouldn't you do your due diligence and follow up on that before presenting your case today, that the house was built in such and such a date, a variance was granted on such and such a date for the lot coverage to be 31.4?
Well, I did. I just told you that's in fact the case. But that's also an engineering question. So that Jeff Carriego would have, he would be the one to answer that question more directly because he did the surveys.
Of the current house, or was your engineer involved in the construction of the new house before your client bought it?
No,
Okay,
No,
so,
but
so
he
he's
did-
just telling
he
us
did
what's
this
already
site
there.
did this site plan and his calculations are consistent with the calculations that's on.
Oh, I don't dispute that, my question is what, you should have presented, on July 5th of 2019, this variance was granted so that it gave you that 1.4% overage.
I think Jeff
That's
Carriego
usually
was
what we
prepared
hear.
to do exactly that.
The engineer's gonna do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is usually part of the packet. And maybe, Jessica, is there a way we can try to get that actual variance for before, since this is going to be carried, so that we can get the information on?
Why would she have to do it?
Well, yeah,
You can
Yeah.
provide it. And, yeah, we can check to see what was on
Public
file,
record,
if
right?
anything. Yep.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna ask you a real simple question. Why wouldn't you just, to eliminate the side yard variance, why wouldn't you just stay within the building envelope? I mean, if we're talking 200 square feet, everybody says, well, it's just 200 square feet. If it's just 200 square feet, don't do the 200 square feet, then you don't have to worry about the 299 square footage for the drainage, blah, blah, blah. And you can stay within the building envelope, that eliminates one variance. Makes your outdoor kitchen a little bit smaller, which, let's face it, it's an outdoor kitchen. The patio's a patio.
I wish I could answer that question with any credibility at all, but I can't because I'm not the professional engineer who did the plan.
Well, I'm asking your client. I'm asking the homeowner. Why wouldn't you
We
just say?
would- I understand the question. to the members of the board, basically, the simple answer is the outdoor patio as it exists now is not fitting with the quality of the house. that
Yeah, I'm not saying not rebuild it, just make it smaller.
It would not allow us to have the outdoor fire table to be able to enjoy to continue to enjoy and use the patio into the fall.
Okay.
But the location of the fire table is beyond the side yard setback, correct?
According to the drawing.
According to your plan. So
I-
that's a design choice as the client that you should be able to weigh in on.
My
Right,
understanding, and I would
location
love
on
to
it.
have my landscape designer
Sure.
opine on this as well, but in order to facilitate both a outdoor seating area and then a dining area, it needed to be structured that way.
Do you have, or is your designer prepared a plan that shows the layout of the equipment and the furniture and the seating?
Again, I don't want to speak for the landscape designer. I have illustrated, they're on a cell phone, but I'm happy
Okay.
to circulate it so you could see exactly what it would look like if that would.
Well, since we're gonna carry and hear from your engineer, I highly recommend that you bring those as exhibits for next time. Thank you.
I suspect he has that already, and we would mark it as an exhibit, but
Okay.
in the event that he doesn't have that prepared, we will absolutely have it prepared.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for this witness?
One more.
Sure,
Wait-
Mr. Nearing, go
wait-
for it.
Wait for the landscape guy.
All right, yeah, we'll grill him in a second. All right. Mr. Fahey, call your next witness, please.
Okay, you're done.
Thank you.
If Chris needs to be recalled, we'll bring him
Well,
back.
one more thing. Does anyone from the public have questions for this witness? Seeing none. All right. We're good.
All right, Jared Kosick, come on up. Jared, you are the owner of.
Yes, swear in.
Yeah.
Yep. If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
And can you state your name, spell your last name?
Jared Kosai, K-O-C-A-J.
Thank you. And I know you mentioned before you're not licensed as a landscape architect, but can you provide your background and experience for the board, please?
Absolutely. So I am the founder of Outdoor Digs. This is our 12th year in business. This is my 15th, 16th year in the landscape construction industry. I started my career doing work. I did some work up in Martha's Vineyard in the Hamptons. I've since, my family raised me in Rockaway, New Jersey, so I opened up my business in Morristown. I've served the local community on several properties. Happy to provide some addresses if the board wishes. I've been under the commission of the Capinetti family now for what, 3 years, Chris? 4 years?
Correct.
To maintain the property. So we don't just build projects, we maintain them. So that way the original design intent integrity of it does not fall into decay, and that's what we've done thus far. And
Just out of curiosity.
Yes.
And we'll let you get into the details of this project, but have you ever testified in front of a zoning board previously?
yes,
Do you happen to remember which ones they were?
Madison most recently. Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep.
That helps. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Please proceed.
So in relation, I think I could backtrack just a little bit to help answer some of the board's previous questions to Chris, because this has been a little bit of a work in progress from a design standpoint. In regards to the outdoor kitchen, I don't particularly love that terminology. I know that's common terminology, but it is far from a kitchen. It's an outdoor grilling structure. So to the one remark about the size of it, it is actually quite modest. It's only about a 42-inch grill. There's no water or sewer running to it, just a simple gas line. Past that, it is simply, as Chris noted, he's the father of 3 young kids. So there's bar stool seating designed for it. So that way if he's out there grilling hamburgers or hot dogs and it's an informal family gathering and they don't want to set up the full dining table, the kids could sit around him at the outdoor bar stools. In regards to the patio layout and the reason for the 200 square footage, if you look at the existing conditions, you will see that the barbecue is currently, the grill structure is not really changing much location. We're sliding it back just a hair so that there's comfortable movement between the staircase and to the bar stool seating. I think you guys, there was a couple of questions as to bringing maybe a 3D model or a layout with furniture. We're happy to provide that. So hopefully that helps shed some light. And then as far as the grading aspect goes, the backyard right now is sloped off pretty drastically, where if you kick a ball, it's immediately going into the woods. So we're not asking or proposing to do any substantial grading outside of the norm to get a more playable backyard. And from a water runoff and from any sort of contingency from the neighbors, it would actually be an improvement, because what's not depicted on here, because it's not typical for a civil engineering plan, but from a landscape plan, at the top of the boulder wall, there's going to be a slight berm with privacy plantings. That berm's going to inhibit water that currently is free-flowing and shedding into the rear wood line from just free-falling during rainfall. Hopefully that makes sense, and I'll turn it over to you guys for any further questions, but hopefully I carried the vision through in a manner that's understandable.
Yes, thank you. Board experts, what questions do you have for this witness?
So is there gonna be a landscape plan for the property, or has that not been developed yet?
So we do have that as far as the planting schematic goes, but that is typically not part of this from my understandings. Certainly not in my experience. So typically it starts with the civil engineering aspect of it, but if the board would like to see the actual finished landscape plans, we're happy to accommodate.
I think what we would like at a minimum, and it can either be developed by your team or your civil engineer, is a dimension plan showing the distance of the edge of the patio to the lot line, the dimensions of the fire table, you know, the amount of square footage that's over the side yard and rear yard setback line, anything else, furniture for scale, that will help us get a better understanding of what's being proposed in the back.
Absolutely, and just to pretense that and give you a little bit more feedback, the current layout of the patio with the two staircases, and if you notice the grade lines, the current lawn falls off quite quickly off the rear of the patio. So with the 3 young kids, 2 staircases in mind down to the driveway, currently the patio that's there can only comfortably seat maybe 5 to 6 with no space for any sort of lounging. You kind of have to choose one or the other. You're either going to put up dining table or some sort of outdoor seating. You certainly cannot have both given that. So hopefully that sheds some light, but we can certainly come back to you with some additional drawings. And,
Are you
particulars.
designing this boulder retaining walls, or is the civil engineer?
So we just conceptually placed those out for the engineer. He took
Okay.
it from there.
What about the height of the berm? You said there would be berm on top of the wall?
Yeah, so the berm's only going to crest about like 6 to 8 inches. We could show that as well. Currently, again, if you look at the existing topo, the lawn sheds off 100% towards the rear wood line. By putting in the retaining wall and actually grading out the area so it's more playable, with additionally having the privacy plantings around the perimeter, that rainfall would actually be absorbed by those plantings and not just simply running off the back of that property that it currently is.
Marie, does the boulder retaining wall detail on sheet 2, does that give you enough information to evaluate and comment? Or would you require further information?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I do have one question about that wall. You know, of course, when I see 299 square feet, you know, my antennas start going up and I start really looking at things. And I would like to ask the civil engineer whether or not the walls were included in that lot coverage. So, just thinking.
So maybe we could have an answer for that.
Right.
I'm sure Jeff can provide that answer. I will say,
Perfect.
I've worked with him in the past. He's pretty punctual, so hopefully we get a clear answer.
Do you happen to know anything, and maybe this is for Jeff as well, do you know anything about any drainage features on the property? Is there a dry well or a
There is
sewage
an
pit?
existing dry well, yes.
Do you know the size of it? Do you know the condition of it? Do you know?
I don't know the
Capacity?
exact size of it. We could probably pull that. But I do know it is fully functional, and it is located right off the rear of the driveway.
So despite being at 299 square feet, I think if you or the civil engineer could also come back to this board with a narrative of how stormwater works currently on the site, I think that would help the board tremendously.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Understood.
And this is, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just want to, Ed, do you have any questions for the
Yeah, a
witness?
few quick questions.
Sure.
Just following up on what the board's been exploring so far, have you explored any different orientations to avoid the setback variance? Why does it have to be in the location that it's being proposed, the kitchen?
Absolutely. So if you take a look at the staircase coming out of the home and the staircase coming up the driveway, and then the staircase that we're gonna have to add, while it's not a massive staircase, it's only about 5 steps to get down to the lawn. Currently, again, if you look at the existing topo, off the existing slate patio, it's quite steep there and a little cumbersome for the kids and certainly for anyone elderly that wants to come over and enjoy their time with the family to get down that. So we're adding 5 steps off the rear patio to get to the lawn comfortably. And to answer your question specifically about the kitchen, any other orientation presents potentially a fall hazard because if you put it off to the right side, you're right against a retaining wall that is holding back this patio above the driveway, right? And then if we pushed it further back, just from a usability standpoint, if we pushed it further back, it brings you even further from the kitchen, further from the gas line meter on the side of the home, and lastly, but most important, it puts you back towards a slope at the edge of the patio, a grade that's pretty steep, right? Is it a steep slope there? No, but you certainly wouldn't want to be seated at the bar stools there and fall backwards, maybe trip on the bar stools and roll down that. It definitely, you're probably going to end up with a little bit more than a bruise.
So Ed, is it the encroachment of the pavers themselves that are at issue with the side yard setback, or is it the equipment for this?
It's both.
It's both.
It's both, yeah.
Right. So then, I guess my question would be, to follow up Ed's question, why not just turn it 90 degrees? Keep it in the area that you're claiming that's safer, but just have it at least hug the setback line and, not encroach into the side yard setback.
Turn it 90 degrees.
Yes. And then
I think
then
the
it
only
would
way to
run
do that-
parallel to the side yard, correct?
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
turned it 90 degrees and it was a way of trying to avoid the variance, is what the board's exploring.
Right.
Yeah.
The intent of the ordinance is what it is, and the board's trying to explore
And
if there's
and
any other alternative.
if you want to think on that and then come back with a response next time, that's fine too.
Yeah, so let us think about that. I think
Okay.
the answer is exactly what Jared said, that side yard is a fairly steep slope. So I think that he's protecting someone from going off the patio that way. If you were to put the kitchen against the staircase and leave the patio open to the side, it might create a little bit of a hazard.
How much of
I
a
have
drop is there?
Well, I have a question about that drop, because it looks I have a picture of the backyard that I took today. I mean, that stone wall you have the chair's probably 30 inches in height, so it's probably 3.5 feet tall, the wall, and right now there's no fence there, but there are trees that would prevent anyone from falling. I mean, you couldn't actually fall off, I don't think, so just wondering, are those trees we don't know, are they being removed?
Some
And
of
if
the-
so, maybe a fence needs to be included in the plan. If there's a concern about a fall hazard off of this, then I think, I'm not seeing it from the way it's there right now, and I'm wondering what other changes.
The same would hold true on the other side. If
Right.
there's
Exactly.
a falling, if there's a,
Handrails all the
if
way
there's
around.
a
Yeah.
height difference between the edge of the patio and then the yard itself.
Seems bigger on the driveway side. There's more of
Okay.
a drop between the driveway. But to that point, like, I think if there's a concern about a fall hazard, I think that's something that needs to be part of the plan, not simply, that's a fall hazard whether you're at the grill or your child is on the patio. If you think there's a
Yeah.
fall hazard, that should be
So
addressed in the plan.
there's one more element to the plans, and if you can relay this to the civil engineer, I think we need to see elevation changes between the patio and the immediate patio to driveway, patio to the remaining side yard, patio to backyard. I think that'll help us understand your reasons for wanting to keep the fire table where it is.
Absolutely. I will
Okay.
note, just while we're here, the proposed elevation changes are overlaid on the third section. Just to be clear on that, we do have an overlay on the first page, third side. You do have an overlay of existing grades and proposed grades, if you guys want to review that, not maybe tonight, but just, we did actually encompass that. But we can certainly come back
It's
with,
entitled grading and utility plan.
correct. And then in regards to the
So
fencing.
the patio's 353.38, is that right?
Correct. 353.18, correct. Bottom of step is 349.18. It's exactly 4 feet of elevation from top of patio to bottom step to lawn. That is not a wall, that is graded off. As you see, it goes from 353.18 down to 351 and then to 350 if you follow the
Yes.
elevation contours.
Yep.
Okay, so what is the 363 line?
363 line is edge of patio. I'm sorry, 363, there's a 353.
Is that
It should be
350?
353, yeah.
I think a cross-section might help or something. It is a little hard to tell off of this. It's a very small
Yeah.
schematic here that, like,
So the top of stairs leading into the house is 358.85, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so there's a landing there at 358?
That is correct. That's existing. There's
The
no
inside of the
change.
house is 358.89, okay, I see what you're saying. And you're saying 353 to 353, 352, 351, you consider that fall off in the side yard to be a hazard as well?
No, what I'm considering is that if you look at this grading and utility plan, if you slide that kitchen further back towards those steps, you're going to be seated. If you slide it all the way to the rear of the steps, you're going to be seated at 353.18, and between that and the bottom, you have approximately just over 3 feet of elevation drop. I don't think if you're seated on a bar stool, you'd want to be on the edge of the patio there. It's not quite comfortable. If you
Understood.
slide it partially back, let's say arguably halfway back the patio, that interrupts any sort of dining furniture or lounging furniture. Currently, as I mentioned earlier, the existing patio only has enough room for either one or the other. You're either buying a dining set, which is what Chris has out there now, or you'd have to buy a lounging set. You certainly can't do both.
And then to get back to our earlier question, if you take it, leave it where it is, based on your comments right now, saying those other locations are untenable. If you turned it 90 degrees, so the edge of the fire table ran along your setback line, that would be an issue because,
That one I need to revisit.
Fine.
I think that it had something to do with a setback from the home, the grill itself component,
I think that's right.
but I need to double check
okay,
that.
if there's safety concerns, we need to hear about that too.
Understood.
Okay, great.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Just-
sir.
Just one last, and it's actually coming off of one of the other comments that the board made. The proximity to existing trees as well for the proposed retaining wall that runs along the rear of the property. Now, I know you're trying to make that area more level, but yet you're adding a new retaining wall within, what is that, 4 feet, 5 feet from the adjacent property? It's something to pay attention to if there's any significant trees there that might be impacted.
Is that a question?
Is that something you could take a look at?
Oh, absolutely. The one thing that I will note in regards to the trees is we did specifically locate, there's a quite large mature oak tree in the back. The existing trees around the perimeter of the property are all previously installed evergreen privacy trees. They're a mixture of white pines and thujas. There's some thuja nigras and thuja green giants. Those trees are easily replaceable. They're not hardwood trees. They're not shade trees. If the board would like to see some shade trees brought onto the property, I don't think that there would be an objection from Chris, but there certainly is not an impact on any large mature caliber shade trees along this property line.
So no trees removed?
There will be trees removed.
Okay, if you could just indicate that on your landscape plan.
100%.
Thank you.
That's where I was going. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Ed, I didn't mean
No,
to
it's
just,
exactly what I wanted to get
Right,
to.
great.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Just a real silly
Sure,
one.
Don, please.
I'm assuming the retaining wall goes all the way across the yard for the easement. The retaining wall's on top of the easement as well?
No, there is a break in the wall for the easement.
So then how do you propose to prevent water from running through that to the neighbor's yard?
Part of that is the landscape plan itself will have a planting in that general area, because the planting itself can be removed if there is need from the township to access that easement. And second, to that point, the existing lot sheds it to that back lot completely. This would be an improvement to that full watershed, if that makes sense.
Well, let me address Mr. Nelson's point even more directly. My recollection from doing the easements for this was that the homeowner does in fact have the right to place improvements on top of the easement, as long as if the municipality asks for access to it, we remove them. So if you prefer to have that retaining wall go across, we can do that too.
I'd have to confer with our professionals.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. The board professionals believe
I'm
that to
just
be a
curious
better
if that's
solution.
like you
We
go
could
through-
certainly do that.
Yeah.
I have a question, I think for Mr. Fahey. Just what is I don't know if we've heard it, I may have missed it. What's the basis of the variance relief that's sought? Because is it physical features? Is it public benefit? I don't think we've heard anything about that.
Right, well, that would be the engineer's testimony.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, just one
Yes.
last thing.
Mr.
You had
Sykes.
mentioned the berm that might be proposed along the back area. If you can indicate by showing a center line for that berm of where it might be, just so it's documented on the plan and we understand where it's going to begin and end. Do
Absolutely.
you understand that
Great.
point?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
One last question.
Yes, Mr. Nearing, please.
What's the height of the retaining wall?
I have to double check. I believe it's exactly 4 foot in some locations. It's not exceed.
I think it's
It
in
shows
the,
2 on the
it-
plan.
yeah,
right?
It goes up to 3
Thank you.
in some spots.
3, I think.
Yeah, I think there was one spot where it might hit 3.5, but it's underneath the 4 foot threshold.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nearing.
So,
Marie?
with respect to the easement and any construction that might or might not happen on it, I'm not sure how to respond about whether I would rather see a wall or whether I would rather see plantings there. I'm typically not crazy about plantings. All those roots are just gonna go right into those pipes.
I would agree with that.
So
I
that's
think
not a good idea.
Well, Marie, good news is you get to sleep on it.
Well, I'm trying to, like, somebody needs to give me more information if I said it's a good thing to have a wall there, because I'm not sure about that either.
Okay.
I don't
Right.
know.
I think you're right, spot on.
I don't know how
I would
deep
agree with you.
the utilities
And
are.
I don't think we would, what I was talking about was a wall. If they wanted us, if the board wanted us, or you wanted us to continue that retaining wall across the easement, we could do that. I don't suggest that we would plant on the easement, because it is a sanitary sewer line underneath there. And we
I-
don't want to put roots into that
I think
system.
I'd want to know, how, what's the depth of those utilities there? How's this wall gonna go in? Is it gonna impact it? Are you gonna damage the utility? I got,
Maybe we could ask Mr.
Engineering.
Correga to come with some,
what's that?
we could ask the engineer to come with some examples of
Right.
similar conditions that he's navigated and his solutions for them.
You don't suspect you would put a foundation under that wall, right?
No,
It's just boulders.
correct. It's not on a
Right.
concrete
That's
footing.
what I think.
Right, there's no grout, right? They're just.
No grout, no concrete footing.
Okay.
This would all be good to have this information before the next hearing and enough time for professionals and the board to review it too.
It's a great comment.
Quick question, just so that we can relay this to the engineer properly. The boulder wall detail itself, is that not suitable?
Well, it's a general detail, and it's not that it's not suitable, but, you know,
There's-
I can see that we're doing a 12-inch minimum of embedment of the bottom layer. Okay, so how close are we to the
Yeah, where's top of
sanitary
pipe?
sewer line? I just,
Yeah.
I don't know how far we're talking about. I don't know exactly the wall height that's gonna be within that easement. I think I just wanna make sure somebody's looking at it closely.
Do you want to come back, I mean, do you guys want to come back to BJ if you want the wall or not? Is that something, do you want us to propose the wall?
No, I think we just want to see how whatever solution you have, how it relates to the easement.
Understood.
Whether it's the planting, right, or the boulder wall continuing over it. I think
So
we
we'll
just need to
present
see.
both alternates.
Great, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, that works. Any other questions from the board for this witness? Seeing none. Any questions from the general public? Okay. Mr. Ball, if we were to carry this, do we need to take a vote?
Yes.
Okay.
We would need to move to carry it. We would need to determine whether any additional notice is required. I'm being passed a note that it looks like our next available hearing date would be December, is that first? December 1st?
It is what it is.
We're busy. Sorry.
I see that.
But it's actually not bad.
Yeah.
I would ask council to confirm that waiving the timeframe for the board to
Of
act.
course.
I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but thank you.
And also confirm that your engineer is available that night.
We will absolutely, I'll work with Jessica on that.
Perfect, thank you.
Jessica has been a great pleasure, by the way.
Can I get a motion to carry this case to December 1st
And I imagine it's without.
without notice?
Make a motion.
With the condition that we get the paper, we get all the documents and.
Ahead of
Yes.
Not a day before,
Yes.
like
We need-
a week or two before. So we
That
we have
shouldn't be a
more than
problem.
that, so
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
time to
That
review.
should
And
not
enough
be a
time
problem.
also for us to.
Yeah,
review
I'll
it,
make
Yes,
too.
yes,
several
time
weeks
for our-
before, okay.
For our board and our experts to witness,
Yeah.
to
Review
review
and comment,
detail.
yes.
Yep, okay. Great. Mr. Nearing, did you?
Yes, I made a motion and with all those caveats.
do we have a
Second.
Great. Jessica, you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Zahn,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
Ms. Chifo,
Yes.
Mr. Nearing,
Yes.
Chairman Loiketz.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Fay. We'll
Thank you
see
very
in
much for your
December.
time.
Okay, thanks.
Is it December 1st?
Yep, yep. That took longer than I thought. 23 Baltusrol, please. Welcome.
Thank you. For both the applicants, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And one at a time, please state your name, spell your last name.
As in Nisenson, Nisenson.
Lauren Nisenson, Nisenson.
Thank you.
Welcome, please proceed.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and the entire board. Thank you so much for your service to the community. We have resided in Summit for 10 years, 8 of those years in our current home at 23 Baltusrol Place. We have 2 kids, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, both of whom have had a wonderful experience at Jefferson Elementary School. We love the home, we love this city, and we look forward to continuing to raise our children here. Presently, our home only has 1 bathroom, located on the 2nd floor and limited space. With 2 children and aging parents, this has become increasingly difficult, and we've outgrown our space. We respectfully request variance approval for this modest addition to our home. We've worked with architect Bill Byrne to design the addition, which is both functional for our own family needs and in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Great, thank you.
Should just confirm any questions, although I imagine none.
Any questions for this witness? No? Any questions from the audience? Seeing none? Okay.
All right. If you raise your right hand, do you swear from the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And please state your name, spell your last name.
Sure. It's William Byrne, Byrne.
Thank Thank you, and can you briefly describe your background and experience for the board, please?
Sure. I'm a licensed architect in the state of New Jersey. I've been licensed as an architect since 1994. My license is currently in good standing. I've appeared before this board, but I would say it was decades ago. But most recently, Tom's River 2 nights ago, or last Thursday, Madison, Chatham, Chester.
Any questions from the board, or would you like to accept his credentials?
We will. Welcome. Please
Thank you.
proceed.
Thank you. All the exhibits that I have tonight are as submitted. There's been no revision, so I don't believe there'll be a reason to mark them. What we have here is the plan of the site prepared by Roth Engineering. Mike Roth prepared this. And just to run through briefly with you, the lot exists in the R5 zone. The R5 zone requires 5,000 square foot of lot area. This particular lot is slightly oversized at 5407. Dimensionally, it's a bit unusual because it's a bit narrower than the standard lot, which would be 50 feet. We have 44.9 as a lot width, and it's a little bit deeper to make up that extra square footage. As it exists today, the setbacks are complied with on both sides at 7 feet, being the requirement. We have slightly more than that. The front yard setback is required to be 25 feet. The house exists at the nearest point, 17.7. But again, the subject of what we're proposing tonight is in addition to the rear of the house. The addition exists within the building envelope, so there's no setback variances in any way. We're fully compliant in that case. We've got 11.2 feet on the left side, and we have 7.7 feet on the right side where 7 would be required. The location of the addition was chosen for several reasons. It obviously architecturally worked out quite well for the purposes that you'll see momentarily, but it also primarily covered an existing patio. So we had a significant amount of coverage already in place there, and our thought was that if we were to propose an addition at that location, we wouldn't be reducing to any large extent the lawn area that exists behind the house. Some other features of the property I think that are significant. There is a driveway easement that runs along the right side property line, and it essentially creates a shared driveway condition between this lot and the neighboring lot. So in each case, there's an 8-foot easement that runs about 100 feet deep on both lots, allowing for a 16-foot driveway. But that becomes a bit of a burden on both lots, frankly, and a bit of a unique situation because the ability to park a car anywhere within that easement would inhibit the neighboring property from using that driveway. So by all rights, both properties are sort of limited to have parking areas off of that easement, so they can obviously not restrict the neighbor's access. And so, as is the case here, we have a significant amount of driveway to a point where the driveway widens out in the backyard, and in this case would enter a garage that exists on the property. The home was built in 1925. I think that the garage was not present at that time. Certainly, it has been there a long time, though. It predates my client by quite some time. So it's been this way for quite a number of years. The variances that we're seeking tonight include 2 coverage variances. So those are the areas where we're deficient. In both cases, the lot does not exist today, and so we are increasing those numbers. In some cases more, in some cases less, but we are asking for an impervious coverage variance of 101 additional square feet. So again, with the credit taken for the bluestone patio that we're removing, the addition of the building, we're increasing impervious coverage by 101 square feet. And the total building coverage is increasing by a slight margin. We are adding about 300 square feet to the building, so that number is also increasing. The requested variance is for impervious coverage, we're going to be at 53.5%, where the requirement would be 45%, and the variance request for the building coverage, we are going to be requesting 29.7%, where 20% would be the required number. But again, in both cases, the increase is fairly slight. I'm going to start with sheet number 2 of our submission, and this plan was prepared by our office, and this includes the floor plans of the existing house. So, again, the house presently exists at 1,188 square foot of living space contained on 2 floors. So, by most standards, that's a fairly modest home. And again, built in 1925 and remarkably original. Very little has been done. It's an absolutely beautiful home. I love to see homes that have been preserved in such a nice way. But as such, the floor plan is a bit typical of a 1925 home, maybe not so much of a home today. And again, it includes a great room, we say living room to the left side, a dining room, and a kitchen on the main level. And a little bit of an enclosed porch area behind that, but again, mostly used as kitchen. So it's a bit of a limiting situation for the family. The second floor includes currently 3 bedrooms and that single bathroom that my clients mentioned. So again, the bathroom exists in this back right corner of the second floor. It includes a tub, a toilet, and a sink. It's a 3-fixture bathroom, but again, very limiting factor when it comes to guests, obviously, and the elderly and family and things of that nature that would have difficulties with a rather steep and winding stair. What our proposal would be to do is to add another room, a family room, to the rear of the existing living room. And that room will extend out 14 feet and be about 15 foot 10 inches in width. And that room is stepped down from the existing house. The house is about 4 steps above grade now. Our thought would be that that room would be constructed on a slab construction, and we would step that down to get closer to the yard area. The area behind the kitchen is going to get squared off and will include a mudroom. So coming in from the garage, the family has a way to come into the house. There'd be an area for cubbies or hooks, bench to sit down for the kids. And we've got a powder room half bath that would go on that first floor in the mudroom. Again, a little bit of a challenge with this house where you basically have a kitchen and otherwise all very open rooms. So our feeling was that the creation of that mudroom would be an appropriate buffer, appropriate location for a powder room. The family room would include French doors and a small step that would take us out to that existing yard area, the lawn that is there today. Again, the driveway sort of encircles that, but the lawn area is pretty precious to the family, and I think it's something that they really wanted to try to preserve to the extent that we could. And then from the mudroom, we have a little bit of a landing area, and then a couple more steps down that would take you to the yard as well. The upper level, we're essentially converting one of the bedrooms into what would be an entrance to the master bedroom. That would become a full bathroom, so that would be a second bathroom on the upper level. A bedroom size of, again, 14 by 15, essentially repeating the family room below, and a walk-in closet to the right. So all in, we're increasing the square footage to 1,784 square feet, which we feel would be, again, a fairly modest home by Summit standards, certainly the ones that I've been involved with, but I think nicely blended. So our final exhibit is sheet number 1 of our plan submission, and this sheet includes the exterior elevation views of the house. What we see here on the top left is the rear elevation, so this would be the view of the house from the back garage area, the back lawn area, and we can see the main level includes French doors from the family room as well as some windows to take advantage of that view to the rear. This would all be covered by a roof detail that would again, shield a little bit of the weather from that, and also, I think, give a nice architectural break to that look. Above that, we've got a triple window into the master bedroom, as well as a higher window that would allow some light to come in. That's really the best window wall for the bedroom. And then you see here to the left, we have that door that goes into the mudroom closest to the driveway. The right side elevation, what we see here is just that little bit of a mudroom extension, and then the second floor extending on the upper portion. The ridge heights of what we're proposing essentially align or are just slightly less than the current house. Current building height, 26 foot 1 inches, and we're going to respect that. We won't exceed that, so we're within the limits. The left side elevation is at the bottom, and that shows triple windows into the family room, as well as a couple windows on either side of the bed up in the master. The existing brick chimney detail stays, as well as the other windows on the existing house. What we're proposing for lighting is shown here. We have a decorative light fixture that is going to be added. It's a carriage light that's going to go next to that mudroom door. And the only other exterior lighting that is going to be proposed would be some recessed lights within this overhang that would provide a good soft glow to that yard area, and I think a nice safety feature. The house has today a floodlight up in the back portion of that roof that shines out toward the rear, and that's going to be removed as part of this, so that's not going to be included. I'll touch on the professionals' reports and the other reports, but one thing to mention while we're here, it was asked to locate where the AC condenser would be. There will be a new AC condenser, ground-mounted, and we have room in our building envelope here below these windows, and that's the
Could
location.
you show us where that is in plan?
Sure. I could jump to the site plan, but the envelope
No,
on
this
this
is
side is
perfect.
quite
Yep.
big. And
Okay.
so this seemed like the most appropriate place not to impact the
Right.
rear yard.
Thank you.
So in looking at the, does anyone have any questions on this before?
I do.
Sure.
Do you want to wait till he's finished with his
Sure.
testimony, or do you?
That's okay.
I
You
can
wanna
quickly
ask
just
now?
run through the planner's report and the engineer's report. Maybe I'll hit on some of those.
We,
questions.
we could probably just have questions from our board professionals and then from our board themselves, and then
Sure.
see if there's any addition, if after that you want to add anything from the reports, then feel free to do so.
That'd be fine.
So, Marie, Ed, do you have anything for this witness?
No, you go first.
Thank you. With regard to the proposed addition, it seems that you're taking out the patio area. There's no outdoor patio now going to be provided on the property? For outdoor, it's not the intention
That's correct.
anymore? Okay, any additional coverage will require you to come back before the board. So if you didn't want to consider something, now would be the time. But if that's your intention, that's your intention. I can't force you to consider that. But the AC units, you answered that question, I appreciate it. With regard to the variances that are being proposed as they relate to building coverage and lot coverage, what the board usually needs to hear about is whether or not there's a hardship of the property or a particular issue of the building and the property, or if there's a benefits detriments sort of balancing test. As an architect, what would you provide as to those variances and why the board should consider?
I was going to wrap up with that, but if
Oh.
you'd like, I can address that
I
now.
was hoping you would get to that, but since they turned to me, I thought I'd ask that.
Okay, yeah, I caught that in your report, and I would happily summarize my feelings to
Please.
both the C1 and C2, so if you'd like, I can do that
Yes.
now.
Please do.
Sure.
Thank you.
So again, I think that there is support for this variance in both the C1 and the C2 criteria. I think in particular, the C1 criteria, the uniqueness of this property, what makes this unique and how is this encumbered by this uniqueness? And I think really this significant driveway easement creates a very unique situation for this lot. The lot is not inconsistent with the neighboring properties, size-wise or otherwise, but there's really no other that I had found that have this, again, aside from the lot next door, that has the same encumbrance. But that really, I think, ties our hands when it comes to what we're doing with the coverage, because there's no ability for any resident of this property to park their car in what's essentially 800 square foot of driveway that exists on the lot. So that's putting the numbers, well beyond. So again, I feel like, from a hardship standpoint, I think that really supports the impervious coverage variance nicely. When it comes to the building coverage, again, I think it's always a challenge on lots of this size, but to some extent, the frame garage that exists and has existed in the backyard, it really has boosted the coverage number for building coverage, quite high. So it really ties our hands when it comes to what we can add. But again, to the fact that what we're really looking to do here is to create an upgrade to this house, and I'll touch on some of the master plan reasoning for this. But essentially bringing this 1925, 1926 home up to standards that are more livable by what people and families would expect today. I think it really is a positive. So if we were to touch on the C2 criteria, and consider the fact that what we're proposing would not be a detriment to the neighborhood, essentially the purposes of the master plan are really enhanced by what we're proposing here. I had a couple key points, but essentially we are creating a more positive visual environment. I humbly would say that I think the addition is well blended with the existing home and respectful of the historic nature. I think that we're upgrading existing housing stock by adding a bathroom to the main level, which again seems almost amazing that it's never existed before in all these years. So I think that is really toward the positive criteria, and when you consider that the master plan also touches on having a diversity in housing stock, again, this isn't a tear down, it's not a situation where we're taking this beautiful historic home away. I think it really is something that allows for some diversity in the housing stock. So I do think in either the C1 or the C2 criteria, we find support for this application.
Thank you.
Great.
The survey that you submitted shows the lot coverage is from 2017. Have there been any changes to any improvements to anything on the property since 2017 that would change that survey?
I'd let my clients answer that.
Are you proposing any landings at the bottom of the stairs, coming out of the mudroom, going down to the grass and stepping onto the grass to the driveway?
It's interesting that the engineer also mentioned that point of coverages, and I think in reality, and I didn't catch this when Mr. Roth had prepared the plan, but honestly, I do think it's practical to expect that we would have a little bit of a walkway to take us from those couple of steps to the drive. I don't know the exact number. I would say it's not more than 50 square feet, but it just seems practical that we would have that little bit of a walkway. So I would suggest that if it was acceptable to the board, that maybe we would request that little additional coverage for that walkway.
I think that's what Ed was talking about before,
I
right?
think that's, yeah, well put.
If you're thinking you're gonna do that, it's better to ask for it now than not have to come back and ask for it.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I don't think that need exists out the family room because we are stepping down to much closer to the grade. The idea is to preserve that lawn area and to use it. So I don't think there's a need, but that little area that exists between those landing steps and the drive, that.
It's gonna be a real mudroom, if you
It
don't
would
mind.
be a real mudroom without that, yes. And I think there's a dog even involved, if I was to guess, right? Yes.
So is anyone capable of doing that quick math? I don't know if we have it already, but what would be the final impervious coverage variance request in percentage?
I'm going to say the engineer will do that quicker than I will.
Looks like your walkway out of the back is 6 foot 10 inches wide? The staircase?
That is correct, yeah. Yeah, maybe around 25. It appears the center line would be about 7 feet long, is that? I'm just,
What do you think is
You-
the width of the steps?
Yeah, 6 foot 10 by,
say 7, looks like the average length 7, and we could always narrow that down a little if we start to bump up against that. So that'd be about 48 square feet, 50 maybe.
I would go with 50.
Yeah, I think that's a comfortable number.
I'm
50
getting like 35, but,
And that would make the
Yeah, what
impervious
percent do
coverage
we
about 54.4, I think. If you do 50 square feet of walkway.
It's an additional, okay.
Because it would be 151 square feet in increase total with the building.
Marie, any other questions for this?
yes, I do. You talk about some of the downspouts, because you have new roof lines, where would those downspouts be going to? Could you talk about that?
Sure, we would expect that we would run downspouts on both rear corners, and currently the drainage runs toward that yard area in the back, that lawn area, and we would continue that here. So we wouldn't anticipate any change needed in the drainage patterns. It's
Okay.
very flat back there.
Okay. Are you removing any trees? I don't know if I heard that.
No, and I think that was confirmed by the Forest Judge report as well.
All right, I think that's all I had.
Great, thank you. Board, questions for this witness?
They answered my questions, the
Okay.
patio and the landing,
Oh,
my
good.
questions.
Don, anything?
I have a question. When it rains, where does the water from your driveway drain? Does it, I can't tell from the picture, I was there today, but does it go towards the street or does it go towards your backyard?
It goes towards the corner of the driveway, the neighbor's driveway, so it kind of
Okay. I'm asking because, you know, with the, I know it only sounds like 150 square feet of impervious cover, which is below our threshold of 300, but this property is already, the allowable impervious cover is 45%, and we would be bringing it, and now it's 51.6, we'd be bringing it to 54.4. I just want to make sure that that is not creating any impact on the neighbors where the water's discharging. Wondering if you would consider putting in a small dry well just to capture that, maybe even make your backyard, I mean, it is kind of nice to not have your roof leaders discharge to your backyard if your kids are playing in it. So just wondering what your thoughts on that are.
yes, we're both open
Yes.
we're both open to that.
Yeah, I think that's a good request.
All
To
right, well,
pick up
maybe
the
mo-
additional 151, or would you?
I mean, I think it's up to you if it's a 151 or if you add in
A
the
little more
roof
might be
something
better,
for the
yeah.
roof leaders too, I think
Yeah.
might actually make your backyard much more usable now that you don't have a patio space. If you're gonna put a table or something out there, you're not.
Yep.
Mhm.
yeah.
The only thing I would request is that whatever dry well you put in the backyard, that you put that much water into it. Do not, I don't want you to put in something and then take the whole roof and put it into that dry well, and now you've overloaded it, and now we've got a point discharge, you know? If it's just the, if you wanna just put in the 150 square feet of coverage, or are you looking for requesting them to put in the amount that they're over the allowable?
I think, you know, for sure the 150, and I think it's sort of, how do you capture that? Are you gonna is that one roof leader? I don't know who's gonna do the calculation on that, because you might actually like having it be a roof leader that's not discharging to your lawn, but I think,
Well, I think
It might-
Roth can figure
yeah,
that out.
Yeah,
I think
well-
that could be.
And I could, you know,
helpful.
again, it might be practical to take this side of the roof down and into a dry well, and if that gets us to the 151, and that seems appropriate, but we could ask Mr. Roth to comment on that too, and maybe there's a reason to capture, you know, both sides of that roof
Yeah.
and make it a little larger there,
Yeah.
you know. So I think that's a great comment.
Are we making that
A condition of
Condition.
the application.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's reasonable.
any other questions from the board? Any questions from the audience for these witnesses? No, seeing none. Okay. Anything you'd like to say in conclusion?
No, I think that's everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ball, could you let us know conditions and number of votes required, please?
Certainly. So I have two conditions noted. One is our usual one, compliance with the conditions noted in the board engineer's memorandum. And second is that the applicant shall submit a stormwater management plan which shall include a dry well to accommodate the 151 additional square feet of lot coverage to the board engineer for review and approval. And since we are only dealing with C variances, majority or 4 votes are required to approve.
Great, thank you. With that, why don't we enter into executive
I have
session?
one more question.
Sure.
Is that, should we have in there the extra 50 feet of coverage, or is that?
That includes the extra
Okay.
50,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah,
And did we open to the public for comments? Did I miss
Oh.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you did.
Okay.
There's no public.
Okay, so, executive session. Who would like to begin?
Oh, okay.
Ladies first.
I think this is a very reasonable ask. I mean, it's just to ask to be able to renovate so you have a bathroom on the first floor. It's a nice thing to have. And I think it's a necessity for, you know, like you said, when elderly people visit. And I think everyone should have that, so that everyone doesn't have to go upstairs. I love that you're preserving your home. And I think it's going to be a nice addition and help work well with your family. So I support this.
Thank you, Allison.
Yeah, I can also support this request. You're kind of, you know, that driveway is, I'm very familiar with your neighborhood. I had a lot of friends live on that street, so, or used to. It's always been it's always boggled my mind that who plows what, who does this, who does that. I don't want to pay that much. But anyway, it's a, you know, I'm amazed that your property is oversized for the zone, but yet your widths are undersized. So, again, I didn't pay attention to algebra, but I can definitely support this. The pros outweigh the cons. You do have a couple detriments to the lot, so I can definitely support this application.
I think it's a very thoughtful design, I can support it.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Neary. I agree with my colleagues. I think this is a very thoughtful response to your needs in terms of wanting to expand your home. I agree that the design's in keeping with the spirit of the DRO, and I definitely sympathize with your, I would call it hardship in terms of the way that driveway's arranged and your ability to get to the garage and through the back. And, I think that offsets your requests for these variances. So with that, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Can you get a second?
Second.
Jessica, can you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Zahn?
Yes.
Mr. Malay?
Yes.
Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Ms. Chifo?
Yes.
Mr. Neary?
Yes.
Chairman Liggett?
Yes. Good luck.
Great, thank you so much.
Rolling right along. 45 Edgewood, please.
Swear the applicant in, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
And please state your name, spell your last name.
Yeah, my name is Jeffrey Behm. Good evening. B-E-H-M.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, good evening. I'm excited to be here. I've lived in Summit for about 5.5 years. We love it here. We've lived here previously, my wife and I, in apartments, and our dream was always to live and own in Summit, and we are now owners, and it's been a beautiful town to call home, and we're excited to continue to invest in our property you'll see tonight and add to the beautiful homes, neighborhoods that exist in this town. And this is Meredith, our architect.
Hi, I'm Meredith.
All right. I assume no questions?
Doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
Okay. Great.
If you could raise your right hand.
Sure,
Do you swear
sorry.
from the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And please state your name, spell your last name.
Meredith Ryman, Colon Reiman.
Thank you, and can you briefly describe your background and experience for the board, please?
Sure, I'm a licensed architect. I've been licensed since 2006. I've appeared before this board. I've appeared before many boards in New York and New Jersey, and happy to be here. Thanks.
License in New Jersey is in
New
good standing?
York and New Jersey, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Please proceed.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I thought that was a universal easel, and I didn't bring my easel, so I'm gonna have to maybe hold my boards?
I can help.
I think you're going to have to put your client to work.
I'm gonna have Jeffrey hold the boards.
That's perfect.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay. So tonight we're here to talk about the BEM residence. It's a two-story colonial home. It was constructed in 1934. It has slate walkways, a paved driveway, various site walls, other site improvements, and a walkout basement, most importantly. We're proposing to build an addition on the east side. Sorry. On the east side of the property. Really useful. Above the garage, to create a new primary suite on the second floor, which is going to take advantage of the really amazing views of Manhattan. Here's the east side. We're looking out this way. They have unbelievable views up top, looking out to, you can see the skyline of Manhattan. Due to the existing site topography, the basement level qualifies as a story above grade, thereby necessitating a bulk variance for exceeding the permitted number of stories. The house is located in the R25 zone. The lot is an irregular shaped lot. And the area is undersized for the zone. It's, again, R25, and the lot is 21,126 square feet. We're here tonight, we're seeking one C1 variance for an existing non-conforming condition for number of stories, like I said before. And that's because of the walkout basement, which is due to the topography. Again, number of stories allowed in R25 is 2, and the existing house, as it sits on the lot legally, is 3. Therefore, we're seeking a variance for number of stories for 3 proposed stories. I'm just going to walk through the plans a little bit. Okay, great. You're doing a really good job. Thank you very much. You all have these plans in front of you. So this is these are the existing plans. The house right now has 3 bedrooms on the second floor. I don't really need to walk through the lower floors, but the second floor here, there's 3 existing bedrooms, and this is there's a roof over the garage. And so what we're proposing, and this is where the amazing views are. So what we're proposing is putting the new primary suite here over the existing garage. Okay, you can go to the plan over there. You're like a great Vanna. Okay, thank you. So you can see on the second floor, what we did was we broke through these 2 kids' bedrooms, the 2 secondary bedrooms, and we created a new suite. The suite is not huge. There's not like a huge walk-in closet or anything. It's really, we're doing it just to take advantage of the views. We have a nice, simple bedroom, a walk-in, big, nice sized bathroom, stall shower, 2 sinks, a private water closet, and then what we're doing is we're doing closets sort of like built-ins all around the room, rather than doing the walk-in closet. And then having some taller windows here, and then some windows here, all looking out. Thank you. Thank you. The architectural design and the experience of the house, we think, is going to complement the house and the neighborhood. We're going to be consistent with the existing house. So right now the house is stucco. Actually, I'm going to put these here. You don't have to hold it. I'll just put this here. You can see the existing house. It's a stucco house. It's really a beautiful old house. It has these beautiful shutters. It has an amazing slate roof. And we're really planning on being consistent with all the same materials, so it looks like the addition really was part of the original house. But in doing that, we're trying to be respectful of massing and not be overwhelming to the neighborhood. So although we are building on top of the house, we're bringing the roof line down so that the main body of the house is still the sort of main feature. And we're bringing the ridge down a little bit. We're doing the hip roofs that are on the main, on the main house. We're going to do slate roof just like we have. And actually what our plan is, when we take the old slate roof off of the garage, we are asking the contractor to try its best to salvage as many of the old slate pieces as they can to try to match it at least on the front, and then we'll take new slate and do it around the side so that it can really try to match, because the slate's not that old, right? It's not old in terms of slate. It's not old in terms of slate. They put that roof on not recently, but like, they knew the slate, wait, when did this?
No, no, it's original.
It's it's the original slate, but it's in really good condition, and they've kept it really nice, so we want to try to salvage the slate as much as we can. But again, we brought the roof down a little bit to try to be, to try to have the massing not be too overwhelming on the house. Okay, thank you. So some of the things that we're doing, though, we're not going to have any new lighting up at the higher level. All the lighting on the house is going to be down at the entryways, down at the garage level, so there's no new, lighting that's going to be glaring or into the new neighbors or anything sort of light glare that's going to happen. Since we're building on top of the existing dwelling, we're not proposing any regrading of the property or removal of any of the existing stone walls. However, it's our intention, because I know this was a question that came up before, that the new gutters around the addition will tie into the existing leaders, draining into the current drainage system. You can see in one of these pictures, I got it, Jeff. You can see this is this is the garage, here's the garage, here's the kitchen, about like how the existing gutters, I'm sorry if you can't see, they drain down and then they tie into an existing drainage system. We're just going to put new leaders, new gutters around the top, new leaders will come down and we'll locate them in the same place so that we're not messing with the drainage system at all. Thank you. And as was noted in Ms. Raffi's letter, there's no stormwater mitigation required because we're not increasing building coverage or lot coverage. I keep taking them off, I take them on, I put them off, I take them on. Not used to them. So, some reasons that we feel the petitioner's claim of right of relief are as follows. This is a C1 variance. It's caused by the hardship of the nature slope of the property, which I guess I should walk you through a little bit. You can see you all have the engineer's survey. You can see how sloped the property is. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to go there, if you've looked at the property at all, but on these images here, I think this is the best one where you can really see how the property just completely peels away. And I have these on an easel. It's so nice. They're all just standing up. But here is the engineer's, who did this whole little diagram for you. You can see a section through the property, and you can see how much it's a really big grade difference from front to back. When you're looking at the house from the front, it's like a two-story structure. When you're looking at it from the back, it's a three-story structure. It's just the nature of the topography of the site, how it is. So the number of stories and the height of the house as viewed from the street are unchanged. The overall appearance of the house will be improved. This is our belief of the positive criteria. The proposed statistics for floor area ratio, building coverage, lot coverage, building height, front, rear, and side yard setbacks all conform to the requirements of the zone. There are no trees affected from this proposal. We are not affecting any trees. The property is really well screened. The neighbors around us from either side all have really mature trees. We have no intention of touching those trees, damaging those trees. I mean, hopefully they don't get damaged. I can't promise, but that's not our intention. You can see from the front, I mean, I know it's really tiny, but if you were there, you can see there's beautiful trees on either side, and the Bems have no intention of taking them down. Actually, Jeffrey told me that in the last 5 years, they've planted about 20-plus trees on their property. So they're big tree lovers, and they intend to continue that as they stay there. Many other houses in the neighborhood have undergone similar improvements. I mean, I've worked on a lot of houses in Summit. There's a lot of work going on there, a lot of improvements going on there. As I said before, the addition will be consistent in style and building materials with the original house, and we feel the benefits outweigh any detriments, and that the board can grant this variance without any negative effect on the neighborhood. Questions?
Awesome, thank you. Board experts, what questions do you have for this
Well,
witness?
I think you've covered everything. I did notice that there was like an inlet in the driveway. Where does all the drainage go on the property right now? Where?
Do you know where it all
I,
is?
we did not touch any drainage since buying the house, but it drains very nicely in the sense that we don't have any flooding or pooling of water. It seems to be old drainage systems that are all underground, so it collects the rain water and it dissipates, but that's my non-expert understanding.
Okay.
But it doesn't create any kind of flooding situations as far as I'm aware of.
Not on your property at least, right?
Correct. Maybe
And,
Well-
and I'm assuming if they had an issue with the neighbors, they would have,
Somebody-
drainage-wise, they would have.
behind us is New Jersey Transit Railway, so if there is drainage, it goes onto the train track area as opposed to anyone directly behind
And they
the
can't.
property.
So my question in my letter was about changes in drainage patterns due to the downspouts, but I've already testified they're gonna keep the same drainage patterns. And they're not changing any really slopes in the rear yard, so I don't know that I have any other questions.
Mr. Chairman, just regarding, it seems that the applicants addressed a lot of the variance proofs and provided those for the board for consideration. The one thing you had mentioned in your testimony was that you have a pre-existing non-conforming condition of 3 stories. What you mean by that is that the rear elevation reads as 3 stories currently, right
Yes.
now, correct? Because of the walkout basement?
Yes.
Okay. And that you're extending the one addition off to the side, so that's adding to that 3rd-story appearance from that side.
Correct.
What is it about on the, sorry, I didn't know which side, but I guess as you're looking at the front of the house, left-hand side, that elevation that you're proposing on the left-hand side, is there architectural detailing there? What is it about the property that's helping to mitigate that impact to the adjacent property, in your professional opinion?
It's helping to make what?
What is it about that side elevation that's
Yeah.
facing the adjacent property that you've designed that helps to offset that impact of the 3-story height as reading from the neighboring property?
Well, I think the fact that we're not going quite as high as the main roof, so we're stepping that down a little bit, and we are trying to break down the massing. We're also stepping it in a little bit, so it doesn't, although it's going out to the end of the roof of the garage, it's still tucking in. It's not like a straight box. And I think by having the massing break down a little bit lower than the main roof, coming in on the sides, it doesn't feel quite as overwhelming. And I think that helps, break it down and be a little more interesting, and also, feel a little more, a little less overwhelming to the neighbor.
And the garage is set back somewhat from the
Right.
front elevation,
Right.
giving you that articulation to the facade. In addition to that, you have a lot of landscaping on that side, correct?
A lot of
So
landscaping on that
therefore
side.
that
They'll
helps.
really only see, honestly, our addition poking up.
At the front garage?
Right.
Okay, thank you, nothing further.
Questions from the board for this witness? Hearing none. Questions from the public?
Michael Ma, 53 Edgewood Road. I'm on the east side of the Bames. So I'm in the adjacent property where the construction is planned. My question for you is, looks like you're going to have a triple window that's facing our house and then our deck, which is a pretty important aspect of our house. If you look from out the window, what's the view out the window that's looking at our house? Is it the tree, there's a Japanese maple there, is it our deck, is it our kitchen?
I think that's an exaggeration of the plan.
Excuse me, speak into the
Oh,
microphone
I'm
just for
sorry.
the.
It's a great question, and thank you for being here. We want to reduce those numbers of windows anyway. That was an initial plan of, I believe, 3 windows. We want to take it to 2 to reduce both the view to your property, but also the focus is more to the valley with the corner kind of structure. So it's a fine adjustment, anyway, so there should be the Japanese maple tree that Michael is referencing, maybe your deck to some degree, but there's so many old trees that should block most of that. It's mainly to the city and to the valley.
So I guess my question is, since the view of the city is gonna be important for the structure, is the Japanese maple gonna be right in front of the window?
I do not believe so
Okay.
at all. Yeah,
Because,
we love that tree.
because that's a tree that's been there for, I think, it was there, we've been living in Summit in that house for 23 years. It was planted, I think, 10 years prior to when we moved. So it's a pretty big Japanese maple. I recently got all the vines removed from the tree to let it grow a little bit, so one of my concerns is that tree's gonna be impacted by reducing some sunlight as the sun, as we go from east to west, but it doesn't look like it's really gonna impact that. So my only concern is I do not wanna touch that tree. It's a very important tree for me, in terms of providing a little privacy into my kitchen as well as onto my deck. Since we actually lost a bunch of trees during the 2 hurricanes that came through here that had jutted the properties prior to them moving into the house. So I just want to make sure all the trees that are adjacent to our property remain and are not going to be impacted by any part of the construction.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a quick question of this?
Of course, Don.
Is that, whose tree is it? Is it on their property?
That's my tree.
Your tree? Okay.
Seems like it is.
Great. Please.
Lisa Hartman, 53 Edgewood Road, and I just want to put maybe a finer point a little bit on that. The proximity of our homes.
It's for questions only. If you have
If
testimony.
there is a question, but
Okay.
it's prompted by the proximity of our homes, which is like 50 feet, and we're really close. So when that height gets elevated, my question is, the nature of the view, again, into our deck, which then becomes a fishbowl, and that adds to the importance of these trees. So a couple questions. One, I don't believe you guys, you've told us, you're not planning any additional balconies or decks off of that new addition. If that were to occur, do they have to come back here? Is that like another? So, because that's also important, it would just add to the
Actually-
fishbowl nature of our deck.
If they're per code, per zoning ordinance and per code, then they wouldn't have to come back to this board for approval.
We do not plan on
Yeah.
adding any
There'd be
balcony.
another story above grade, so it probably need, in that case, it would probably need to come back, right?
Yeah, it may trigger that.
Yeah.
That is true.
Okay.
It probably would need a variance, so we would probably have to come back here.
And we have no intention of doing that.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. Okay, again, it's this fishbowl concept I'm getting at. And then the other thing is, and I appreciate, I did read the forester's comments, and the forester didn't object because the trees are going to remain, which is great, and obviously we all agree with that. I guess my question is a bit different, whether or not there was an evaluation, to my husband's point, about, the impact of any increased shade on those trees and the life of those trees, and if not, should there be, or?
Shade study is not required by this board.
Not required?
No.
Okay, so the forester doesn't consider whether or not an increased shade by this addition could pose, a problem for sunlight to these trees that are there?
Not in this case.
Okay.
I have a question. Do you know how tall that tree is?
It's pretty tall. I mean, I have
50, 60 feet.
So if it's 50 or
Should
60
be.
feet, that's taller than the roof line of the house. So
possible,
really, the construction should not impact
as is, right?
the tree.
Did you say it was 50 feet tall?
Approximately.
It may not be that high.
No, I don't-
That
Yeah,
probably wouldn't
yeah.
be that high,
Yeah, you can.
The
It's
issue-
taller than, I'm just looking at the picture over there. It looks like it's taller than the house. I'm not sure.
Yes, it's taller than the house.
The space between where the trees are and the edge of the house, I'm assuming where the
That's true.
construction's gonna be, it's not that, it's about 20 feet. So there's a walkway, right, and then there's some bushes, but then there's a tree there, so I don't know how much construction material is gonna be coming through that space.
So as,
We're not at our side yard setback, we're not asking for a side yard setback variance, we're within our right
Please, speak into the microphone if you can.
I'm just saying, we're not at our side yard setback, so we're building at the line we're allowed to build. It's the number of stories that we're here asking for. So, but I'm not a landscape architect, so I don't want to speak about the trees and the shade on the trees.
The property's also south-facing, so this tree is a beautiful tree. I will do whatever I can as a neighbor to protect the tree as well. We get tons of sunlight through the entire course of the year and during the day. My unofficial, unexpert opinion is they'll get tons of sunlight still to this tree, and I think it should remain very healthy.
Ed,
Do you anticipate using the driveway for the storage and staging of materials for the construction?
I would imagine so. That's in front of
Yeah.
that's not, that's only 19 feet. It's not a lot of space. I don't think they're going to be using that side. They'll be using the driveway.
The driveway?
Yes.
So that would keep the impacts to the trees to a minimum?
Yes.
As well? Okay, thank you.
is there anything that you want to say in conclusion?
Like I said at the beginning, we love this town. I want to continue to add to and make these homes as beautiful as possible. And the future families that to inherit this home one day from us, we want it to be a beautiful place for them to enjoy. And we think the additional space and bedroom will allow for a family of 5 or 4 or 5 to really enjoy the home in that way.
Thank you so much. Any other comments you'd like to make about this project?
No, again, it's really, for me, this fishbowl,
Microphone.
we're gonna be
Mo-
a fishbowl,
if-
that's our, and I'm sure it'll be beautiful, don't get me wrong, they
If we're,
wouldn't do anything that
if we're
isn't
gonna get into
beautiful.
commentary, I'll just swear you in quickly.
Oh.
If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes,
And can you please
Um,
just state your name, spell your last name for the record?
Lisa Hartman, Hartman.
Thank you.
Again, I'm sure it'll be beautiful, I have no doubt about that. It's this fishbowl nature of how our deck will be when they have this visual from that height, so. And to your point about the future people who are living in this house, same concept, so. Yep.
Am I allowed to comment or am I done comment?
Thank you.
Please.
I mean, we certainly want everyone and to be happy. If you want us to limit the number of windows we put on that side, I think that Jeffrey and Rachel would be happy to do that if they're feeling uncomfortable with the number of windows we have there. Right now we're actually showing 4 windows on that side, and if we wanted to cut it down to 3 or 2, I mean, we have that view from kind of the windows facing more towards the rear as well as on the side. So, right. I don't want to speak for
Okay, well,
Jeffrey, but-
we're gonna let you work that out with your neighbors.
Okay,
We're not gonna
okay.
make that a condition of approval at this
Okay,
point, so
okay.
I'm sure you guys can figure
I
it out.
just wanted to offer that up if that was,
Yes,
okay, thanks.
I'm sure civil discourse will rule the day. Excellent. Mr. Ball, what are the conditions and how many votes for approval do we need?
I only have one condition noted, which is our usual one, compliance with the conditions noted in the board engineer's memorandum. And again, here we only have a C variance at issue, so 4 votes are required to approve.
Thank you so much, sir. And with that, who wants to begin our executive session? Mr. Malay, you've been unusually quiet tonight. I'm a little worried about that.
All right, so I can start with this one. I do support it because they do have kind of special condition with the railroad in the back, and the addition they are having mainly in the back, so I don't think it will have any negative impact on neighbors. I do appreciate the fact that they are working with their neighbors to come to a kind of agreement on the number of windows and the trees, and that is commendable. So I certainly support this application.
Thank you, sir.
I can also support this application, just to add on to what Mr. Malay said. I walked the property today, and I went all the way down to the bottom to see, like, what would anybody see? Because really the only place where this presents as 3 stories is from the back of the house, so you would typically be more concerned about what the backyard neighbors are seeing, that they're getting that third story, and even past the railroad, you can't see anything because it's completely screened with very tall trees. So, and I do think that there is, you know, the slope of this property, is it 40 feet from the street level to the back? You know, it's a pretty steep slope, so it is an unusual condition, and it almost seems like a technicality, seeing as the front yard is 2 stories. So I could support this, and I appreciate the thoughtful presentation and the things you did to try to make it appear so that it's, you know, in keeping with the neighborhood and the style of the house without, while minimizing the massing with some of the things you did with the lines.
Yeah, I can support this application as well. I would just add from a personal point of view is, please work with your neighbors to satisfy their needs, you know, best you can, obviously. But I can support this. I know that those are tricky lots on that. That's why they call it Edgewood. It's the edge of the wood, it's down. But, you know, it's hard to build on those lots. 'Cause luckily, you're not disturbing steep slope and all those other requirements. So I can definitely support this, and I think it's a great addition, and it'll enhance the neighborhood and make it valuable for future families.
I can support the application. I think it's a resourceful plan again, and it'll enhance the value of the property, and as you said, for future users of the property, it'd be a nice addition.
I certainly agree with my colleagues. This is a very thoughtful design. It's obviously enhancing an already beautiful home, and so we always appreciate that. It's in keeping with the spirit of the DRO, but I also want to commend you on your show of restraint. It's clear from your FAR calculations that you could probably add another 500-600 square feet to your addition and still stay under the FAR allowable on your site, and the fact that you're not choosing to do that, and that you're building this addition with a roof that slopes down. So, you know, there's something being built there, but it's going to allow light in, and the fact that you're willing to have a conversation about windows that are facing the neighbors is certainly appreciated by this board very much. But I think that you have an absolute real hindrance in terms of the slope, and having that third story count against you is why we are here and why we listen to cases like this. So I can be in support of this application as well. So can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Allison.
Second.
Great. Jessica, can you call the roll, please?
Vice Chair Zahn,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
Ms. Chifo,
Yes.
Mr. Neering,
Yes.
Chairman Liketz.
Yes. Good luck.
Thank you.
Just minutes?
Up first, we have the minutes for memorialization from July 21st, 2025. The eligible members to vote are Vice Chair Zahn, Mr. Malay, Mr. Nelson, Ms. Chifo, and Chairman Liketz. Can we get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. Do I have to close?
We have to.
I'll just note for the record that that concludes our official business for the evening. We do have a closed session, but if anyone is out there listening, no further business and no further action will be taken after the conclusion of that closed session. Before we go in, I will read the resolution to go into closed session in full, so bear with me for a couple of minutes here. Whereas NJSA 10-413 of the Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from meetings in public bodies in certain circumstances set forth by NJSA 10-412B, and whereas the Zoning Board of Adjustment of the City of Summit is of the opinion that such circumstances currently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Zoning Board of Adjustment of the City of Summit as follows. 1, the public shall be excluded from the discussion of any action upon the hereinafter specified matters. 2, the nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: attorney-client privilege, procedural advice. 3, it's anticipated at this time the above stated subject matter will be made in public in approximately 30 days or at such time as any litigation discussed is resolved. So is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. So we have
Great.
to turn off our recording, is that,
After the vote?
oh, after,
Vice Chair Zahn,
yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
Ms. Chifo,
Yes.
Mr. Neering,
Yes.
Chairman Liggett.
Yes. Thank you both.
Okay, thank you.
You want to keep, can we keep
If
Ed?
Ed could stick around, that may be helpful,
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
just in case.
As long as I didn't do something wrong.
No, no, no. This should be brief.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Jessica.